Hello, everybody. This is Jaime Jo Wright with MadLit Musings, and we are back today with another great author who you all should know by now because she's written a gajillion books. Lisa Phillips, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'm not sure gajillion is the actual word count or book count.
I feel like after a while you just lose count anyway. So gajillion's a good.
Gajillion works.
You know?
Yeah. I'm losing count and I think I'm at 10 and I don't think I should lose count at 10, but I'm losing count.
Give yourself a sticky note or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But no, I was looking at your website. You've got a lot of books under your belt. So that's really awesome. How long have you been writing?
My first book came out in 2014.
Okay.
And then I think that was about the fourth book that I had written, was the first one that got published. So
okay. All right. Awesome. That's so cool. And you write primarily romantic suspense, am I correct? Or do you do anything else?
Yeah, I have dabbled a little into supernatural thrillers and I enjoy them, but I'm not sure there's a market necessarily for it. And then more recently, I actually have two series concurrently.
I'm your market. I'm your market. Write it just for me.
One reader, right?
One reader.
Well, I like it, so I may revisit it at some point, but I'm not sure right now. But yes, so then more recently, I've actually got two series releasing concurrently right now. Okay. And one's romantic suspense just for those readers, and then I also wanted to put out these thrillers, and they're single point of view, and the romance is more like slow burn over the whole series. So yeah,
that's super cool. I love it. That's so awesome. And you have a book releasing today.
Yes, I do.
Which is, tell us just a little bit about that one, because that one has a killer cover, pun intended.
Yes. So it's called Expired Return, because it is the return of my Last Chance County world. And most of the last few series that I've done romantic suspense have been interconnected. Even if we're in a different location, we're still in the same universe and there's crossover characters. But this new series, Last Chance Fire and Rescue, goes back to that original Last Chance County world. And it's all four books are set in the fire department. And these two, so we have a truck squad and a rescue squad, and they are a hot mess.
Hot mess.
They do not get until like when they're not out on a call. So the minute they go out on a call, they're like professional and do their jobs. Oh, there's some fighting, a little bit of disagreement, professional disagreement. But when they're back in the firehouse and all the rest of the time, they're just a hot mess.
That's awesome.
So that was a lot of fun to hang out with them. And so so the new series goes back to that world, and so it releases from Sunrise Publishing.
Okay.
And the model that they work with is a lead author with an established series. So they've got an established story world, and you take on draft authors who are usually newer. So they have all different levels of experience in being an author. And we mentor them. We brainstorm the books together, come up with the characters. They go write the book. And then we take that first draft and we revise like all good books. Yeah. We revise, we massage and we trim things and we perform surgery, and then we just, they were already fantastic when they turned them in, and we just got to say, here's how you go from good to great. And so cool. It was just such a fun experience and such a fun journey over the last year of working with those three ladies, and they just blew me away. So
that's so cool. That's so cool. There's a lot of I guess I shouldn't say a lot of it's kind of a new format in a sense, which I think is so indicative of Christian fiction, where it's not, I found being in part of this world and this industry, that with the Christian fiction industry specifically, it's not competitive. Like we could be, but instead it's like we're cheering each other on, and and really working hard to make sure everybody succeeds. So tell me a little bit more about the mentoring thing. I like that.
Yeah, so there's people that do it within the general market. It's kind of more like a James Patterson style of, there's an author who writes the book and it's his platform that presents it. And so it follows that same format in that it's my brand and my, the marketing that I have behind me and the
Right.
releases that I have,
Right.
partnering them with Sunrise and them being able to bring their established readership. And so yeah, it's just a great way to come together as believers. And for somebody who's new, they don't have a platform, they don't have, they have a newsletter and it's like your mom and your sister and your two
Right.
best friends, and that's a great way to start a newsletter, because they like what you're giving them.
Exactly.
And so just being able to launch a career with this little push under you,
Yeah.
of being able to go, here's what I can do. And so just like lifting each other up, that's
Yeah.
exactly what we should do as believers.
Right.
It was very like iron sharpens iron, but in all the best ways through this mentoring process, because they learned so much about being an author and marketing, branding, and all these. I need to do this, I need to do this, but then I learned so much about mentoring and about writing. They teach me things about writing and about marketing. Then I'm like, oh, I should do that. Just too stubborn to so far I'm like, okay, fine.
I suppose.
So, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just you can have a mentorship or a relationship or two colleagues without the spiritual aspect of it. But when you add that in, there's that layer of fellowship where you just connect on that level, where you can pray together. You can, you've got God covering this whole thing with his hand. And so that just gives it so much more, makes it so much richer of an experience for everybody. So
yeah. And that's kind of really, when you think about it too, it's biblical, from the concept of coming alongside one of another. See, I'm a writer. I'm just not a speaker. One of another, come alongside each other. But even looking at Christ with the disciples, I mean, he modeled mentorship right there. And other things like that. I'm just trying to think. There was a verse that was popping in my head, and then I got my grammar wrong. But encouraging one another. There's a verse about that. And obviously, I don't have a good memory.
Well, and there's so much in scripture that you can pull from, like bearing one another's burdens. And then there's wasn't it Aaron, where the Israelites went out to fight, and didn't they have to hold his arms up?
Yes. It was Moses, and then it was Moses had to hold his arms up, because if his arms came down, the battle would start turning. I think it was Joseph. Was it Joseph and Aaron? I'm not sure.
Joshua and Aaron.
Joshua. Definitely Joseph. Wow, I'm showing my biblical prowess today.
We're good.
I love it. But yeah, Joshua and Aaron were holding his arms up, and
and so that's what we do. We like support each other, and we get to do that. It's a get to encouragement, and also teaching, because people who the whole concept of like the older women should teach the younger women. If you apply that then to like, someone that's a little further along in their career and has a little, and it's Susan May Warren spearheads this entire thing. And that's exactly what her heart is, to just pour into people, and teaching, so much teaching, that she does at conferences and through Novel Academy, but then she also does like with us as a Sunrise family, and then brainstorming together. The amount of times that I've been stuck on a plot or a book, and I call my author friends and I'm like, tell me, fix it for me, because you need this collaboration of ideas.
You do.
To and it gives me, I think I never would have thought of that, and that's such a good idea. And so it just adds something, gives a richness to that story in that example, or this process of bringing out a series.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have anyone in your life that mentored you at the beginning of your writing career?
I did the Jerry Jenkins Christian Writers Guild.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
so it
that.
was Stephen Bly
Mhm.
was a fantastic mentor, and it was so funny because his feedback was like, you did this, you did it again, you did it again,
Oh,
you did it,
funny.
and then he's like, stop it, stop it, stop it. Which was perfect. That is exactly the kind of
That's what you
mentorship I
need.
need.
Okay.
Stop it.
Knock it
Just stop
off.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's purely me. So, and then there was also an editor from Harvest House, I think, and so I did their apprentice course and then their journeyman course, and then attended their conference years ago. And
Okay.
it just makes such a difference to have
It
somebody
does.
give you direct
Hmm.
feedback.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, no, I agree. And I found too, like with you can have an industry mentors, which is what your
mm,
experience is with Sunrise. But like you said too, there's another level when you have the spiritual element
mhm,
included in, because I'm thinking about when I first really got serious about starting my own writing journey, and Colleen Coble had
mm.
sort of taken me under her wing a little bit. I don't know why, because she hadn't read anything that I'd written. So she, right there tells you a lot about her character, because she's taking
Mm.
along somebody who could be an absolute fluffy writer that can't spin words together. But, our relationship so quickly moved beyond writing,
Yeah.
and it moved into the heart and the soul of what our relationship was, with Christ as the center. And, having gone through a couple traumatic things in my early days with just having gotten to know her, it was so interesting how here I am, a nobody. And in some of those traumatic times, she's the one that's walking me through them with
Mm.
prayer and those encouraging text messages that just seem to
Mhm.
come at the right time when you least expect them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. So, um, what do you think we can do as, I'm just thinking about mentoring and reaching out to other people. What if you're not a good person from the sense of being able to just approach somebody? How do you become a mentor, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
You
Like,
mean talk
what if you're
when
not
I
a good person? What if you're a serial
if
killer
you're
and
a
you're like, I
terrible
would like to
person.
mentor you in
Hey,
the art
we
of
should can we
killing?
just do a serial killers couple? You and me and Jessica Patch would be fine.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
uh, yes. So, I mean, things like ACFW,
Mhm.
and then your local chapter, even though it's super weird to go for, I met somebody one-on-one and then went with them just
Right,
because I wasn't going to talk to people I don't know.
right.
And then my church actually just recently established this where they're putting together a program of
Okay.
mentoring.
Oh,
So you can apply as a mentor and as a mentee, and then they put you together. And so, I would love to see something
let's
like
see.
that maybe within ACFW,
Yeah.
because we've done so much online lately the last couple of years that it would be
Mhm.
so easy to do something like
It would.
this where
It
you're,
would.
two people on a Zoom call,
Right.
and you can meet and encourage each other. And they've done a little. I actually have so it started out as mentoring, and about 5 minutes later we were just best friends,
Oh,
and she's been my best friend since 2020. And then we finally met at ACFW in 2022, and it had literally been like 2.5 years that
oh
we've been
my
best friends.
gosh. I love that.
Because I'm in Idaho and she's in Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, it's it's a blessing of the Lord when,
Yeah.
they it want, the goal is mentoring, but it actually
Hmm.
just turns into friendship because you can just
Yeah.
include all, it's just
Yeah.
multifaceted. And so yeah, to see more of that. So I've seen a little bit on the loop as far as like asking, trying to hook up people with mentors.
Hmm.
But it would be
Yeah.
wonderful to see, a very targeted, do you want to mentor somebody? Do you want to be
Right.
mentored? And then maybe genre specific
Right.
mentoring, because there's a lot, like I would have a hard time probably mentoring somebody who's writing historical
Hmm. Hmm.
or, women's fiction,
Right. Right.
or anything medieval. That's not I'm like, why would you want to hang out in that time period? That just does not sound like fun to
Everybody
me. Maybe
died of disease and
I just
sword fight.
didn't like that bit in history. at all.
Yeah. It's a little glamorized from what I think it actually
Yeah,
was.
yeah. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so the people that I work with tend to be predominantly suspense
Right,
and romantic
right,
suspense, because that's just, it's like a language I speak now.
right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think there's been good strides made towards that, but I would love
Mhm.
to see more of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like we almost need to create one of those mentoring mentee, not really dating services, but like a dating service, where
Yeah,
you
like
go on and you
yeah,
fill out an
matching
application and you're
swipe right.
psychologically matched and
Yeah.
swipe right. Do you
Yes,
like this
yes.
book? No, I don't.
No,
Don't let
no.
her mentor me.
I thought that was terrible. Yes, we agree. I was watching a TV show years ago, and it was two police detectives, but their captain had sent them to couples therapy because they did
Oh,
not get along. I think
funny.
one of them shot the other one. Anyway.
That
And he
is
said it was an
funny.
accident.
Yeah.
And the counselor said to them, "You don't have to like the same things, but you have to hate the same things."
Oh,
And I was like, "Okay." Like,
that's
sometimes
interesting.
all you need is, like, mutual dislike
Mutual
of
hate.
something.
If we mutually,
And
so
you're bonded
basically,
for life.
this is an easy application to create then, Lisa, because all we need to do is forget all the psychology. You just put
Yep.
in, do you hate?
Top
And we just keep
top 5
matching
things that you
people.
hate.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yep.
if you rate in the top 4 of the same things that you hate, then we'll
Yes.
match you up with that person to mentor.
Yep. Mhm. Yes.
Wow. Wow. We've solved the world's problems, I think, right now.
Yes, we have. Hey.
I love it. So tell me a little bit about Expired Return. I do want to learn a little bit more about this book, and I know readers who
Mm.
are listening do too. So,
Yeah, so we created an entire fire department,
right.
but it's based in this world. So, I have the police chief, and all that police department was established from the beginning.
Okay.
And so the male hero, Alan, in Expired Return, was a
Mhm.
police officer in the original series. And then
Okay.
in book 8, he dropped a building on everybody, and he got paralyzed. So he has like partial paralysis where he's in
Okay.
a wheelchair,
Sure.
but does have some ability to walk, and is working on getting his strength and
Okay.
seeing how far he could take that.
Sure.
So he was in a relationship with Pepper, who's a veterinary tech,
Okay.
before this accident, which we didn't know that. So they were
Okay.
actually dating, but she was in this relationship, but there were things that she wasn't willing to share.
Okay.
And so it actually kind of hindered how far this relationship could go, because she wasn't really ready to fully let go and actually trust. And so she broke up with him the morning of the day he got paralyzed. So this entire police department just thinks that she never showed up because he
Yeah.
got injured. So they all think she's this terrible person
Oh, like she's
because
abandoned him
they
because
like
you're,
yeah,
yeah.
because he's paralyzed, not
Right.
knowing there was this whole other thing. And so it's like everybody else doesn't like her, but the hero is like, I need you to tell me what that was. Like,
Yeah.
why you broke, like, he knows it wasn't the
Right.
paralysis, but
Right.
like,
Right.
why did you break up with me? And so
Hmm.
that's really like kind of what they have to work through in the middle of. So Pepper's watching her niece because her sister's kind of like the wild child, but
Mm.
she's married to a doctor and they're
Okay.
separated. And so there's all this angst. So Pepper's like the stability for her
Hmm.
niece, who
Hmm.
has this crazy life with her broken family parents and crazy sister. And so the sister hasn't shown back up to
Hmm.
pick her up after, because it was like Christmas vacation. So she's got to go file a police report that her sister's missing and never showed up. But this entire police department is like prejudiced against her, for this, like, you
Yeah.
betrayed my brother and you broke
Right.
up with him because because of the
Right.
injury or whatever. So yeah, so there's just a lot of emotional layer in the middle of this, the sister and the
Right.
sister's ex-husband, and the all that, what is
Uh,
happening with them,
yes.
and the suspense plot. And so, true to my normal way of plotting books, there's a lot of did I actually blow something? I knocked down a building. So there's all these like where you go, wait, what? Like, so I love my end of chapter cliffhangers,
Yes.
which I learned from Love Inspires Suspense because
There
you
you
have
go.
to do that.
Right.
And so I do that
You do that
constantly.
all the
Every
time.
time I'm like, this has been getting to like, we just had a nice, calm, romantic moment. And then I'm like, bam.
Blow something up.
Yes. So you can expect all those Lisa Phillips, wait, what moments
What? Awesome. I love it.
all through this. And but you also, what I love is like the relationships,
Yeah.
not just the two of them, but the people they work with, their family.
Mhm.
There's people, co-workers people he's known for years, characters from the original series, and now they've got so many kids in tow because it's been
Oh,
a couple of years.
fun.
So I have one
Yeah.
couple that adopted a bunch of kids, and then there's another couple from towards the end of the series, and she's very pregnant now,
Okay. Yep.
but she's still exactly the same person. So you get that little snippet of like,
I love it.
okay,
I
I know
love
what kind of mom you'll be. You'll be in Mexico breaking them out of prison because they got in trouble. That's the kind of mom you are.
You are a devious author. You're a
Yes,
devious
yes.
author.
So
That's
I
fun though.
mean, like writing a series that readers really loved,
Mhm.
and then getting to go back and
Yeah.
give it a new spin, new people, but still the same elements of the original
Right.
series, and
Right.
people who are like, oh, I know who that is.
That's awesome.
That it was just fun to
Yeah.
come up with. It was a fun series. It was a fun book to write. And so I'm just super excited for all the books in this series.
Okay.
Because they're just so
Yeah.
enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it when you have a series where there's a kind of a community of characters, and like you
Yes.
said, you get to revisit old ones and you get to learn new ones, and
Yeah.
that's awesome. So if people want to get familiar with the series that kind of comes before Expired
Mm.
Return, which series would that be?
So Last Chance County is the original series.
Okay.
And then so Chevalier spins off of that, and they
Okay.
live in town. You meet them in the original series, and then they spin off. And then Last Chance Downrange is a spin-off that is set in a different state, and then
Okay.
it's Benson, and then Benson comes after that. So kind of like
I
Last
love
Chance
it.
Downrange and Benson First Responders are tied together because they're the same
Okay.
location. And
Okay.
then original Last Chance County and Chevalier Protection Specialists, those two are connected because they're in Last Chance County. So
Wow, this
there's
is so
just a
cool.
whole
I
universe.
love it. I love it. I love
The
it.
minute I found out Susan May Warren like interconnects everything, and
Uh-huh.
like this is this person's cousin, and now we're over here, and then this, they all know each other, and I'm always like, you got to keep all this straight. But now I'm
I
like,
don't know how you do.
I like this. So then I'm writing my new thriller series,
Yeah.
and it's slightly different. And then I'm like, she needs to go somewhere and recuperate. And I'm like, well,
Oh,
I have a counseling center. And then I'm like, no, 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 no. You don't actually have to tie everything
every
together.
book
This
together.
could actually be separate. I could, but I'm not. No, stop it. So
I love that. I love that. That's so awesome. Okay, so if readers want to get a full list of all your books, they want to follow you, they want to check out this new book that releases today, Expired Return, where do they go? Find out all this information.
for this series, I would go first to lastchancecounty.com.
Okay.
Because then that's all that Last Chance County world. And then authorlisaphillips.com is in everything.
Okay.
So, and there's a full book list on there.
Yes, I'm
So.
looking at it right now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a full one. So
Yes,
set aside some time to read, because this
Yeah.
girl has been writing a lot of books in the last 10 years. Dude.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do you sleep?
On the weekend.
Oh, okay. Well, at least there's that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we'll give a shout out to your co-authors in the other books that are coming
Yes.
out with Sunrise, and who are they that will be helping release the other books?
Yes. Book 2 was written by Megan Biesing.
Okay.
Book 3 was written by Emily Haney, and book 4 was written by Laura Conaway.
Awesome. Awesome. So you'll be wanting to watch for those names, because I have a
Yes.
feeling we will be seeing a lot of fun
Yes.
stuff from them too. So
You will.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, thanks so much for being with us here today on MadLit Musings. And
Thank you.
we'll do it again with your next release.
Sounds good.
All right. Sounds good.